You're watching the Hero's Journey Project, episode number 31. I'm your host, Nick, and we are looking at comics from the golden age these days. I have to say that we're working our way through 1944, and I really haven't seen, or we haven't come across a lot of major first appearances so far. We're just going to be starting April comics today. So far, January, February, March have not produced a lot of first appearances that were really notable in any way. But let's see what kind of comics we got today. Maybe that'll change. Who knows? Okay, first up, we have Action Comics number 71. Looks kind of like a Valentine's Day issue on this one. A lot of lovely stuff on the front. It does say Valentine Villainy on the front as well. This is from DC, April 1944. Got a fun Superman Lois Lane cover, trying to stop some kids from writing some love stuff about them. Very exciting. So in the Superman story, he has to sort out a Valentine's Day mix-up when stolen diamonds, a book, and a vanity case end up in the wrong hands. And the other story I was reading was Atara, and he visits a jungle tribe and helps a pearl diver gain the pearl diving concession for the tribe. Now for this comic, there was a recent CGC 8.0 sale from November of 2020 for $1,050. Next up, we have Adventure Comics number 91. This is also from DC. This is the April-May 1944 issue. I like the cover. It's got some good action on it. However, I find Sandman's one leg looks really long. That thigh is ridiculously out of proportion. Almost as long as the bazooka is holding there. So Sandman and Sandy deal with some thugs that have found new courage after being hypnotized by their boss. Starman shows a guy who's down on his luck that the stars don't control our destiny. What a great lesson for us all. For this issue, you have a recent CGC 5.0 sale in November of 2020 for $430. Next up, we have All American Comics number 57. This DC April 1944 issue. In this, the first story, you have Green Lantern takes Doiby Dickles to a country club to get him into shape, and then realize that it's a front for a secret Nazi submarine base. Now, in this issue, the Green Lantern receives the Navy E award. This award was given out during World War II to recognize excellent war production or excellent contribution to the war effort for manufacturing and production of important machinery, weapons, all that fun stuff. So presumably because he saved a German submarine that could be used for the US Navy, this is why he received the E. Not sure. Then the Atom saves the girlfriend of a star football player from being kidnapped by some mobsters trying to win a bet by fixing the big game. Dr. Midnight helps a friend who has sold his shadow to the Shade in a scheme to extort him later. Recent CGC 7.0 sale from February of 2020 for $525. As far as I could only see 8 on the CGC census for this one. Seems fairly rare for this issue. Okay, moving on, we have Batman number 22. This is the April-May 1944 issue. So a few things about this issue. It's the first 52-page issue. That's down from 60 pages, right? So we've been seeing a lot of this lately. I have to say this page reduction so far from the publishers really hasn't yielded a lot less in terms of the actual page count that I'm reading from far as I can tell. You're still getting the same amount of stories for the most part in these issues. But of note, this is the first Alfred Pennyworth cover. So it's the first time Alfred does appear on a cover in the Batman series. And I found out that the reason for his appearance change a few issues back is because they wanted to match the radio serial that was going on at the time, where he had that kind of slim figure, slight mustache. So the first story out of here, Batman and Robin get caught by Catwoman when they investigate the maid that has captured the attention of the butlers of the neighborhood. This is the first time Alfred wears a Batman costume. So also another notable first for the issue. Batman and Robin break up a gang of thieves who use the local observatory to spy on banks. And in that issue, Robin gets a job as a telegram boy. And then Alfred accidentally catches some thieves trying to get into a safe and manages to capture them. So this was a 4-page short story titled The Adventures of Alfred. I believe it goes on for this is the first issue that The Adventures of Alfred appears in. I believe it goes on for another 13 issues. And then finally, Batman and Robin play cat and mouse with the Cavalier when he attempts to add more exhibits to his trophy room. There's a recent CGC 9.4 sale from November of 2020 for $9,000. Again, very impressive that a 9.4 would get out of the 40s. But for $9,000, I can see that makes sense. All right, following that, Captain America comics number 37 is from Timely, April 1944. You got the big red star there, so that means it's the big book of the week. Another Alex Schomburg cover. So of course you got lots of detail, lots of action. Bucky and Captain fighting the Nazis. Lots of U.S. soldiers advancing as well. Looks like this takes place in Berlin based on partial sign you can see in the background there. Planes flying overhead, buildings on fire. Every time you look at this image, you see more things going on. It's great. I love these Alex Schomburg covers. Okay, so first up, Captain America and Bucky meet Dr. Agony when they stumble into his underground lair where he's conducting experiments on Americans to turn them into Nazi soldiers that feel no pain. Captain America and Bucky are part of the U.S. military drive to Burma when they encounter the Sons of Satan, who are Japanese spies trying to stop them through fear and sabotage. Captain America and Bucky's plane is shot down over the Antarctic, and they get caught by the Red Skull, who plans to destroy factories in America. And finally, Human Torch and Toro are called upon to find out why there are so many accidental explosions at a shipyard and find an old welder trying to sabotage the war effort for the U.S. So for this issue, you have a recent CGC 3.5 sale from September of 2020 for $6,000. So that's what makes this the book of the week. The big book of the week is that you've got a lowly 3.5 commanding a $6,000 price tag. And you got an Alex Schomburg cover. You got, some Captain America and Bucky appearances, Human Torch and Toro appearances, and you've got the Red Skull, notable villain. So that all adds up to make it the big book of the week. Next up, Captain Marvel Adventures number 34. This is from Fawcett, April 1944. For anyone collecting clown covers, this one's for you. I find it interesting that the clown doesn't have shoes on, but painted toenails. I mean, come on, don't you need to have clown shoes to round out the outfit? It seems like a thing. So Captain Marvel helps a clown track down a gorilla that has escaped from the zoo. Captain Marvel takes part in some sporting events when some crooks sabotage one of the teams. Captain Marvel has a hard time proving his powers are real when a jealous magician is out to prove him a fake. And finally, Captain Marvel finds a floating island north of Scotland that turns out to be Mr. Mind's new fortress. And that last story is chapter 13 out of 25 of that serial of stories. You have a recent CGC 0.5 sale from March of 2020 for $50. Like, I find that having such a low grade as the most recent sale probably deserves to note another one. So we have a 9.0 from February of 2019 for $408. Again, low buy-in for Golden Age book if you're a big Captain Marvel fan. Next up, Captain Marvel Jr. number 18. This is from Fawcett, April 1944. Really like this cover. It's nice, well drawn, good looking cover. Good action on the good action scene. Love it, love it. First story, Captain Marvel Jr. stumbles onto the Vulture's plan to have glowing pigeons follow a naval convoy to light it up and make the ship's prime target for U-boats. So this guy on the cover, his name is the Vulture. No E on the end. Again, I mean, they've named so many villains Vulture in all these books within the last year or so that it's crazy. So no one, Vulture is a very popular villain name, I guess. And these are all different characters. Most of these aren't recurring characters. Next story, Captain Marvel Jr. has his hands full when a genie from a magic lamp is given orders from men who are up to no good. Mostly just selfish deeds and thievery and general chaos. Captain Marvel Jr. follows a trail of men who can't remember anything after Dr. Savannah is loose with an amnesia gun. Captain Marvel Jr.'s powers are tested to the limit by a scientist who ends up discovering his dual identity, and it almost gets out. So for this issue, you have a recent CGC 9.8 sale from September of 2019 for $3,900. A 9.8 from 1944. So yes, this issue was the Edgar Church Mile High copy. So that explains, that pedigree explains why that high grade copy got out of the 40s. Next up, Detective Comics number 86 is from DC, April 1944. You'll notice again that Alfred is on the cover, front and center there in the spotlight. And it now, from what I can tell, it did come out the same month as the Batman issue, which I noted was Alfred's first cover. This one just, I'm listing these books in alphabetical order, but this one actually happens to have come out about 2-3 weeks after the Batman issue on the newsstands. So Batman, Robin, and Alfred get caught and then foil thieves pulling off heists involving land, sea, and air. The Crimson Avenger stays alert and happens upon the hideout for a gang of crooks, gets caught, and then Wing saves him, and they round up the gang. You have a recent CGC 9.2 sale from November of 2020 for $4,560. Okay, Flash Comics number 52, DC, April 1944. Kind of a goofy cover because you see this big mechanical brain machine on there. That's in the first story where Flash is gifted a mechanical brain that possesses all of mankind's knowledge, and some thieves get a hold of it and attempt to dispose of the Flash. Winky, Blinky, and Naughty appear in that story. It's funny because you got, people would ask questions to this brain, take some time to find the right answer and spit it back out. And the size of this thing is just monstrous. Whereas right now, really, it's you fire up whatever device you want, log on, you can say it into Google, you can type it, whatever. So, yeah, it's just funny. See how far we've come. And this was something that was imagined back then. Johnny Thunder and Peachy Pet hide from Nazis in the German countryside while heading for Berlin. This story seems to kind of follow one into the other. Started in the previous issue, and it looks like it'll continue with the next issue. Maybe they will actually reach Berlin. We will find out. Hawkman and Hawkgirl contend with Hummingbird and her blinding light as she loots the city. So this is the origin and first appearance of the original Hummingbird. There's another Hummingbird, I believe, that comes back in the modern age. I didn't read too much about her, but that's what seems to happen. This particular Hummingbird from Golden Age, I believe, only has 1 or 2 appearances. She won't be around too much, but who knows. Recent CGC 4.0 sale from December of 2020 for $400. And our 10th book of the episode is Marvel Mystery Comics number 54. This is from Timely, April 1944. This is interesting because you have another Alex Schomburg cover. It's got his name on the bottom left there, so it's easy to tell. You've got, Torch and Toro blasting through some walls, the floor. Very standard Alex Schomburg stuff. Those guys are always blasting through something, throwing fireballs, being shot at. Now, this also happens to be a bondage cover. And in this issue, Human Torch and Toro each do their part to help a U.S. naval convoy safely reach Japan amidst a coordinated Japanese and Nazi effort to send icebergs at the convoy. So some bombers were destroying some icebergs and sending the ice flows down to, they're floating down from the north to hopefully intercept the convoy. Of course, Torch and Toro find out about it, take out the icebergs by destroying some bombers carrying oil and lighting the oil on fire. This is the whole thing. They did a great job. Submariner heads out to save Betty Dean from kidnappers and ends up taking out 15 U-boats with the help of the U.S. Navy. The Patriot thwarts 2 assassination attempts on the President of the United States. Miss America attends a costume party as herself, then follows some Nazis who are after some U.S. Navy secrets. And the Angel stops a gang of Nazi saboteurs from blowing up railroad tracks. Twice. You have a recent CGC 2.5 sale from May of 2020 for $888. As another Alex Schomburg cover with Human Torch, Submariner, Patriot, Miss America, Angel, all in that issue, plus the bondage on the cover. I thought this would have been a good contender for the book of the week, but Captain America Comics was the one that beat it out. I guess Captain America is a bigger draw from the 40s. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what I guess Captain America more popular. That's all I can think of is big difference between the 2 issues. And this even has bondage on it, which is usually something that spikes the prices. Anyway, that'll be it for our week of comics. That's 10 books. Another episode in the can for the Hero's Journey Project. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.